Perfect. Okay, let me just put my hair up. We will crack on. Right, so this evening's one is a bit of sort of movement maintenance. So just all the bits that I've sort of bolted on here and there over the years and I've learnt about, just to keep the body sort of fresh and injury free as much as we can and able to move in our joints and stuff. Let's have a little drink because I've just finished working out. I'm tired already. Okay, we'll start off just warming you guys up because odds are you wouldn't like me if I've just finished a workout. And we're going to go for, we'll start straight on our hands and knees actually, and we'll just move into our wrists. So all I want you to do to start with is just roll your wrists. We do this pretty much every time, guys, but it's just important to get them. It's not so bad if you've already been moving on your wrists and stuff and you do a lot of stuff with your hands, but a lot of people sit at a desk and their wrists are staying very, very still, and you go from having a really still, unmoved joint to a joint where you're applying pressure, and it's one of like the key ways you're going to get injured really. So just start moving them around, just get them wiggling, just come up onto all fours like this and just lean into your sort of range of motion in your wrists. Come to the side a little bit, turn your hands backwards like this, and then just gently lean back till you come up onto the tips of your fingers, and then roll back in again, and the same again. Evening, Jason. How are you, buddy? And then have a little side to side roll in there, like this. Then pop them so your fingers are facing outwards, and just move in that way. Just try and warm these up a little bit. And then if you can, go on the tops so your palms are facing up. And if you notice my elbows are pushing out now, then what I want us to do is just roll our elbows in like this, and then roll them back down again. Up and down, up and down. Do 10 of these. So 5, 4, so I've already done 5. That's fine. 3, 2, and 1. Just give them a shake off. You have a little roll. And we'll take a plank pose. So whenever we do plank, guys, we're not keeping our bums low like this. We're turning our, from here, belly button's going inwards, we're tightening our core. Okay, so this back straightening up, so the movement isn't like this. Okay, it's like this. So this is tight, this is straight and solid. Okay, so we should go into our plank like that. Now, my legs are out stretched, and I've turned my core in. Okay, so I'm in this plank already. And then I'll move accordingly to get this line here at 90, so straight arm like this. Okay, and from there I just want us to instantly start activating our core. So just move side to side like this. So you just feel the change in your scapula as you rock over. And then next time you move over to the right, just push up with your scap. So push down towards the floor, so your body goes up. Then let it lower, come across, push up, and let it lower, nice and simple. So 1, do 10 of these, push, 2, so you're coming up onto your fingers, 3, so you're just driving that scapula down here, so this will engage, 4, drive it up, 5, drive it up, 6, 7, 8, 9, keeping that core tight, and 10, good, and then just come back down to here, and just stretch into those shoulders for me, a little bit, just a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back up. Just give your elbows a shake off and go back into your plank. Straight back up into your plank. And this time I just want to take our knees, take them to our opposite elbows. So we're coming up into a plank, like so, and we'll take our knee across, touch our elbow, and back. Across, touch the elbow, and back. To get that core fired up straight away, we'll do 10 of those. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pop your knees down, and we'll just have a little stretch again. This time we'll lay on our bellies. Take our arms wide, bring this arm up, and just lean over onto that chest. Get a bit of a stretch there, not for too long. And back the other way. Come up with this one, lean over that chest. Come back up. Good, hopefully we're getting a bit warm now in our shoulders, which is cool. Just want us to take a low squat. Those of you that can take a low squat for me. And if you can, you know, here or here or here or here, just adjust accordingly. But the lower the better. And I just want us to take each knee and just pop it on the floor, back, and then press it outwards for 1. We'll do 10 of those. Press it outwards. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just get a bit of movement in those. 7 hips. 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's 10. Yes. Then we'll place our hands together and just gently push outwards a little bit. Perfect. Okay. Now I want us to take a pounce position. So the pounce is there like this. Okay. I think some people call it beast as well, but to me it looks like a pounce, so we'll call it pounce. And then from the pounce, if we can, if going from the pounce to, so if this one is hard, if we go from a pounce to here, and back to a pounce, if that's hard enough, we want to do 10 of those, okay? That might be quite hard because of the movement in your hips. If you can do those relatively easily, like you're flowing between, that's quite easy. What I want us to do is take, so we're swapping our foot for our hands basically. So we're in this pounce position here, and my foot will swap for my hand. So we'll be moving the hand out the way, and we'll place the foot there, and then take it back. And this hand will move out the way, our foot will go there, and then we'll take it back. Okay? So just have a go at them. If you can do those, or if you can access those, we'll do 5 a side of those. If you can't access those, we'll do 10 of just these. Okay, and if you can access those, just go as far up as you can jump. So if you can, I'm guessing you can get into a pounce. So if you can't get up to a full squat with your hands together, just go from a pounce to as far up as you can get. So you might go pounce to here and have to lean, keep leaning over. It just takes out that part, okay? So wherever your progression is, but just try it, fall over, try it again, fall over. You don't have to get 10, if you get 2, that's cool. And then just wait till we've done our 10, and then we'll move on from there. So I'll do 5 of the easy one first, or the starter one, so I went to easy one, and then I'll do sort of 1 or 2 of the harder one, just so you can see them both. So the easy one, in fact I'll do 2 of the easy one, and then the rest of the hard one. So we've got 1, and again you might just get to here, yeah, or you might be able to get to there. So that's 2 of those, and then okay, so these movements, if you just keep going, these movements are really good for gaining amazing amounts of sort of movement and strength in our shoulders. They're giving us this ability to use this scapula, giving us a really good range of motion in there. They're also gaining us the ability to, so a lot of sort of shoulder injuries will come from a jolt or a movement that's sort of off our usual range of motion. So like a fall and a catch that's out of our normal range and the body doesn't know how to fire it. At that position, it will basically go into shock, seize up, and you'll get a knot or whatever else. So I'm kind of moving into those positions a little bit, okay? So cool, we'll move on from there. So another quite important sort of part of movement maintenance, or really life maintenance or shoulder maintenance, whether you lift weights or anything really, play tennis, whether you do some sort of martial arts or box or anything, like the shoulders are a very shallow joint and they can be a bit of a bugger to keep on top of. So another really good movement for them is, I need to lie on my front, so you might not hear me so much. I'll try and talk you through it first. So we're going to lie on our front. To start with, we'll take our hands behind us. So our hands will be down here. Then we're going to lift our arms with our body lying flat, our core engaged a little bit, so that belly just tucked in, nice and solid. And then we'll take our arms up one at a time. We'll do the right one first till it gets to the point where it won't go any further. And then we're just going to twist our hands we'll do 10 twists at the back. And then on the 10th, we'll keep our hand upright and move it upwards without it touching, well, keeping it as high as it will go basically. Keep it high, and at some point you may have to turn it back, but keeping it as high as it can off the mat. And then we'll place it down, bring it back to the beginning, and do it on the other side, okay? So we'll try it first. So I'm just laying on the mat, nice and comfy, turn my core in. I'm going to lift my arm up as high as it will go. Okay, so it might only be here or here, or you might be one of those crazy people that gets it right over here. But what we're not doing is, mine is moving out a tiny bit, but I'll have to do that to get past my lat on my back. So if you can get it straight up, get it straight up. But what we don't want to do is it to come right out here. So it needs to stay as far back as it can go. Obviously it will move out depending on how big your back is, because your back's in the way, you can't physically push back your back. So just place this hand comfy where it is. Drive it up. Don't really force it to start with, just bring it up to a comfortable position. And then we're just going for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it might get a bit more space there. 9, and then 10. Keep it high, bring it forward, keep it high, keep the palm up, 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 up. Might have to turn it at some point, and then draw it back down again. Oh, go for the other side. So palm up, arm up, so it doesn't want to go right out here, stay back, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and about the 5th you tend to get a bit more space. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Keep that palm up, keep that arm as high as it will go, and then at some point, twist it back, at the front, and then just come back to your knees, give them a bit of a wobble. It's quite hard to do in kneeling, but just give them a wobble, give them a swing. Get a bit of movement in your neck. Then we'll go back down again. And this time we're going to go same again, but on the side. So like this. This time we're going to move upwards. So we're not opening our chest up, keeping our chest as flat as it will go. I mean, it will lift a little bit, but keep it as flat as it will go. So we don't want to start lifting it from here. We want to start lifting just from this part here. Okay, so almost on the front ones it's quite important we kind of drive these shoulders into the ground. So the difference is, look, there or there. Okay, so keep it kind of in the ground. Do both at the same time. Lift them up, drive those shoulders down. Turn up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Keep your palms high, take them to the back, keep them high. Turn your palms down, keep them high. Front and drop them down. Okay. Then put your hands in a prayer position. Come up onto your knees and just sit into your shoulders. It will stretch. And come to your knees again. Bit of a shake. Perfect. A little drink. So there's a lot of other really good movements you can do for shoulders. A lot of them do require bands or weights or sticks and various other bits. One of them that's really good, if you've got some dumbbells at home, is a Cuban, so you can rest your arm in a Cuban or just keep it in the air. You've got to keep this straight, this shoulder depressed, and you've got to just bring the weight downwards like this, so you're rotating it. And what you're looking for when you do a Cuban is you're looking for, so at some point in the rotation, and this, maybe not that side, I think this side's worse on me. At some point in the rotation, as you bring this shoulder down, okay, you're keeping this compressed. I can't do it both sides, but what normally happens is about here, people start to roll. So if you're coming down here and you start to roll here, then roll it back again, bring the weight back up, and work down to just before the roll happens. And then instead of going up weights, you're going to try and go up in the rotation. So you want it so that roll doesn't happen, okay? So obviously, I didn't set out to do that, I've just gone off on a tangent. Because I'm gathering that most people that are watching this at home currently won't have weights and stuff. So, but that is a really good one to bolt on to shoulders. It's just really good for your internal parts, basically. Okay, so next one. Another quite important thing to work on a lot. Well, for me, definitely. For some people, not so much. But is my ankle mobility was really bad because I had a lot of injuries and fractures and sprains and all sorts of stuff from when I used to skate and jump off buildings and whatever else I did. But a really good way of, there's a few really good ways. One of them is more dynamic than the other, so we'll do 10 of those first, and it's just literally a roll. So we have our back nice and curled, so we roll. And what we're doing is rolling up and leaning forward to just before, well, really want to be just before our heels lift up. So keep our feet together, roll up, and then just lift up, come back down again. Roll up, go back down. It's nice and simple. It's just getting a bit of a stretch into those feet. So when you're doing this, if you do it for 10, when you are doing it, or do it for 20, try and imagine this joint here, just opening up a little bit, giving yourself a bit of movement, okay? That's the key to this, is thinking about working into the space that you're working into. So again, there's a few ways you can do this. You can, if that's nice and easy, you can work into that and it's quite easy. You can do it one-legged, so you work into it, just one leg, or you can do one leg but alternate it as you go. But they're both doing the same thing. Another really nice exercise, once you've done 10 of them or played around with that movement, is the rock over to your toes, which I do quite a lot. And actually it's in a lot of my videos on YouTube, and it'll be on most of these videos on Facebook. It's just rock over your ankles. So just sit on your toes like this, and then just lean back, drive down like this. So again, we're working these heels to touch the floor. You can see mine don't touch yet, but they've come a long way to even get close to where they are now. And then we're coming back down and we're just controlling this lift. So it's a bit of core engagement, and then we're working those heels down. And the same again. Another really good maintenance move for getting those ankles nice and flexible, which really, even if you don't want to, that's good for everything, guys. If you're running, it's really good, because if you go and start running off road and you like run over a tree stump or something, and you don't realise it's there, or you misstep a curb and you land on it, you're giving yourself a bit more usable strength range in those ankles, so your body will know to fire there, instead of being like really tight and then really stiff at a point. So when you land on it at the stiff point, you've got a bit of movement there, and it's doing what it's supposed to do. If you get kids that haven't devolved themselves through life like we all have, they'll all be able to sit in a low squat with their knees together, because we were born with super flexible ankles. So that's also a really good one. Another one, which is kind of putting those two together in a sense, is a progression to a sissy squat. So whenever we sissy squat, we're basically just driving our knees over our toes, okay? So we're squatting with a knee over toe position. Obviously a full sissy squat's really hard for most to gain straight away. So you can play around with it and progress it quite well by just, to start with, just squat, but take the knees over. So I'm instantly going to be coming up to the end range of my ankles. I'm driving my knees forward, and then I'm just popping my hips out at the end. Okay, so I'm here now, and then you bring that back and come back up. So we're at the end range of our ankles. Okay, so I've broke the movement down into okay, and back up. So that's one to try. And then as you get more efficient at that, or if you can just blast 10 of those out, you then start to try and move your hips up sooner. So you might come down to here and then drive your hips forward. And then try and keep your hips forward as you sit down. Or you can keep your hips forward at the top and drive from the top, and then squat back up. So you get down like this and then come back up. Or you can go down in the squat and back up in the squat. Okay, so there's loads of different ways of moving around, but that's for you to play around with, really, because the progressions are so minute and there's just tiny different bits of movement in the hips that it's for you to play around with and guide your way in. But again, you want to be doing sort of 10 of those. It puts a lot of pressure on your knees, but it gets you generating power in this position where your knee is sitting over those toes. There's a lot of force there. It changes the way your knees are sort of generating power. But again, it's really good for stopping injuries and stuff. There's another one. And that takes us to, okay, we're back to shoulders a little bit. So these three movements These are the lowest progressions of them, but they are, in my opinion, something that's really stopped me from getting shoulder injuries. I haven't injured my shoulder for a very, very, very long time now, and I do a lot of moving, a lot of pretty stupid stuff every now and again. So, but these are the lowest progressions, so something that you should add on, really. I mean, I know we haven't done all of the reps and sets, but we've only been here for sort of 20 minutes or so, really. Half an hour, 20 minutes. So once you've sort of bolted these on, you could get this sort of movement maintenance. I spread this along my week, but you could do it all in one day, and just that's better than nothing at all. So the next one is like a slide to a low bridge. So there's probably people out there that can do bridge anyway, straight off. Low bridge is a slightly different movement. But just again, play with it. It's for you to try and see how you get on. So start from lying on your back, and then when we go into the bridge, we're having a really open back. So we're really opening our chest up, taking our chin up, and we're looking away from our feet, obviously. I'd be looking at the back wall. We put our hands either side, like this, and then we're just going to drive up to sort of, so I'm almost sitting on my ankles there, and then we just lift, and we just hold that. Maybe do it for 10 seconds to start with, then slide yourself back down, and reset. And then try and go again. So, I've just got something in my eye. So hands up, slide back, lift up. Head back down, tuck under, reset, have a breathe, then go back again. So the difference between this and a bridge is you've got slightly bent in your arms, basically. It's the only difference. It's easier to access, it takes a little bit more strength, obviously, because you've got a bit of bent arm strength coming in there as opposed to a straight arm bridge. But a lot of people that can't access a bridge will be able to get themselves up into a slide up into a low bridge. But it stretches all our hips out, stretches our quads, stretches our wrists. It really stretches your lats and everything, really. It's a really good movement. So yeah, again, you'd probably do, if you were doing holds, you'd hold them sort of 5-10 seconds, then work on, just hold it until it starts to burn, then come back out again. Do sort of 3 sets of those. And another one which we did Tuesday actually, but those of you that didn't watch Tuesday one, is our rotation. So when we do wall rotations, these are really good bolting onto low bridges, because low bridges will give you the sort of strength and stamina to hold up eventually into a bridge, and they also open your chest out quite nicely. They give you a good bit of bent arm strength in this position, which really changes your openness of your shoulders. And then a wall rotation teaches you the rotation into the wall. So when you do this one, you are placing your hand on the wall and you're rolling on this outside of your hand, just like this. And your eyes are watching this hand. So we're basically doing this movement, which you'll totally get in a minute when I show you. And we're rolling over. So our chest is opening out like this, making a circle, and our hips are driving forward like this. So we're going to make this position. So sort of stand half a leg distance away from the wall. And then we place a high hand to start with. We follow this hand and we roll on the outside of our hand. Bring our chest up. And then we follow the other hand back out again. Okay, so follow this hand, place that hand, follow that, and reach over and back again. Okay, and then you work your way down the wall. So if it's easier, if it's nice and easy high, move down. If it's not easy high, just keep going high. Hand there, roll over, and back. You can go a bit lower, go a bit lower, roll out, a bit lower again, go lower again, roll out. Just work your way down. Okay, so it's still comfy, we don't have any pain. Just work through those. Okay, perfect. And again, if you do 10 of those, what's really good is if you, these last 3 movements, so the low bridge slide, if you just slide into a low bridge, hold it until it starts to, not starts to hurt, you want to hold it until it starts to get hard, you start to shake, just slide back out of it again. Do 10 rotations on the wall, and then come to the floor for this last one. Do that as a free, so do, and then rest for sort of 90 seconds, then you go back in to that movement again, okay? So this one, just have a drink. Our QDRs. And again, we've done these already, but they're just something that I'm trying to drum into because they're really good. So the first progression to a QDR, put your hands, stay on your knees, put your hands down like you're going to do a push-up. Bring one leg up and the other, so you're on your toes, so my high heels, and bring your legs together. So I'm in this position, I almost fall onto my hands, okay? And then you want to turn your knees to the left, and you want to go down the middle like a push-up. So this arm here comes to your side of your body. So you're rolling down to here, rolling back up, and then rolling back, sitting back. So rolling down, driving straight up, and rolling back. Okay? There. So your head goes down and over to the opposite side, back up and back, and then down and over. Yeah? So it's doing this. And I'll do 10 of those so you can see what's going on. Okay, so I'll do 5 of the first progression, but again, we've already done these on previous videos. So get down and up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then, like we said before, the second progression, you'd start from here, and then you'd roll in, and you would go to there, and then you'd come back. Just keeping one leg on the ground. Okay. So again, if you can go straight into those, do 10 of them, and that's cool, do 10 of them. If you can do 10 of the first ones first, then go into 10 of them. If you can do 10 of those quite easily for 3 sets, then it's the same, but you start to lift your leg that's still on the floor. So you'd go into QDR, then you'd lift that leg up, and then you come back down. Okay, and you'd do 10 of those. So there you go. So today was just a workshop base, just wanted to get some information to you, so you could start moving stuff around yourself and saying, oh, I like that movement, or I like that, or that's cool. Obviously I haven't given you the book of everything there, but there's a few little bits. Hopefully you'll be able to see some exercises in there that you'll think, I quite like that, I'm going to use that. So yeah, crack on with it, guys. Thanks for you guys that watched me live.